to the dirges of his hopes that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing to the fowl, whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease, reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufty floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath meant thee, by these angels he hath sent thee a respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh, quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul, with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting, get thee back into the tempest of the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken, quick to bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pally-buster palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore. Of course, I shall not pretend to consider it any matter for wonder that the extraordinary case of M. Valdemar has excited discussion. It would have been a miracle had it not, especially under the circumstances. It is now rendered necessary that I give the facts, as far as I comprehend them myself. They are succinctly these. My attention for the last 3 years have been repeatedly drawn to the subject of mesmerism. And about 9 months ago, it occurred to me quite suddenly that in the series of experiments made hitherto, there had been a very remarkable and most unaccountable omission. No person had as yet been mesmerized in articulo mortis. It remained to be seen, first, whether in such condition there existed in the patient any susceptibility to the magnetic influence. Secondly, whether, if any existed, it was impaired or increased by the condition. Thirdly, to what extent or for how long a period the encroachments of death might be arrested by the process.
It was actually helpful to hear the beginning again.
Oh. The facts in the case of M. Valdemar?
The blada? Yeah. How are we feeling?
Good.
Okay. Good.
Let's move the chairs.
Are we ready to commence?
Shut up!
black man got up.
I'm gonna keep rubbing. He's as black as I am.
You should make him
As
a
far as
police.
you know.
You should make him a police
You're
dog.
colorblind.
Tear his heart up.
Well, that's pretty you. You I will kick.
Toby's
You have your name because of me. Shut up. You stop it.
Toby's just speaking up because she's speaking up.
You, get out of my chair. Let's go. Out of my chair. You get out of my chair.
Never knew Charlie Brown was so mean.
He was.
Oh yeah, that's my mask.
Shut up. Shut up. Ah, shut the hell up.
For those of you watching, Ahsoka doesn't like strangers, and we have a guest, so she's upset.
So is Dennis apparently.
I am.
Stop her.
Always gotta be the bitch in the room, huh?
Maybe she just doesn't like phantoms.
That's true.
Or albondigas.
Maybe your original owner had half a face.
Oh, this.
And maybe her next one will too. You keep fucking around. Shut up.
Be careful, everyone, when you sit, because Toby's likely to take your seat just seconds before you sit down.
Toby's gonna shut the hell up too.
As he just tried.
Did he just try to take your seat?
Shut up.
You're right by the mic, so every time she goes. Over your head, over your.
You can.
Oh,
I can.
this.
Imagine that coming up on the room.
Maybe I should keep her in my lap.
Maybe she should shut the hell up. Maybe that's what should happen.
On this week's podcast, we'll have a soothing rumbling sound in the background. It might sound like growling, but it's just... I found the off button.
Found the off button?
Nope. It
He's
was
not the
pause.
first large
It
brown
was a
person we've
standby
seen.
button.
Adjusting my seat so I don't have to keep doing it.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Adjusting my mask so I don't have to keep doing it.
I appreciate that, thank you. Ahsoka, I'm gonna throw a knife
I
at you.
haven't figured out how to adjust this dog, so it's gonna keep doing it.
Are you close to the mic? Are you good? Are you gonna end up sitting back and then I'm gonna yell at you?
You probably need to hold the dog so I can move the chair.
Gimme. Give me that fucking pest. Come here, you. Are you better now?
I'm gonna bite you on the ear if you don't shut up.
Right? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my
The other
god.
one's being good. Look at him. Being sweet.
Oh my god.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet. You're gonna fall off my whole leg.
So I don't know if you know this, but the pound takes returns.
What's that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's not nice.
You've been given up once before.
Jesus!
It's gonna happen
What
again.
the fuck?
We have microphones on. So.
Hey,
Yeah, really. You just sneezed in both my ears.
shut up. Hey,
Hi.
tired of your bitching.
What did you say?
I said you sneezed in both my ears.
Oh.
Are you comfy? Get comfy. Everyone get comfy. Make sure that you're in your final resting form. Because otherwise, I'm gonna be giving you death stares from across. No. Stop that.
What? I'm getting it out of the way. And Rain's phone is on silent?
Please. Not
through.
silent, not vibrate, because
My phone is usually on silent and would vibrate and it doesn't cause any problems. So I don't,
yes,
I
it
don't-
fucking does. You
when?
better not.
When?
All the fucking
When it
time.
doesn't. You shut the hell up. I'm tired of listening to you.
Amontillado.
You live in a house with brown people. One more is not going to kill you.
Hi, babies. You alright over there?
Yeah.
Hey, shut up.
I don't know why my nose is
Shut up.
all of a sudden running. I'm not trying to sniff during this thing.
Do you want tissue? We got some here. Or toilet paper towel.
Just use the dog.
Or toilet.
Just use the dog.
Just give me the dog real quick. I'm not
Stop
allergic
it.
to dogs, so. Okay.
Dogs get papalas in
I'm
here.
in
Stop
my
it.
final resting. This is where I'm going to be sitting the whole time.
Good. No. No!
Shut up.
Hi, everyone. This is Old Books Podcast.
Our special Halloween edition.
Yay.
We read old stuff, in this case, and then talk about it.
That's right.
And today we have a special guest.
We have two special guests.
Two?
Yeah,
Oh.
we have an annoying bitch and Bueno.
That's not nice. So Bueno joins us. He's a friend of ours, and he's joining us as a special guest. Very exciting. Bueno, say hello.
Hi.
No, that's not nice. That's super creepy.
Hello.
Yeah, less H's, please.
Less like I'm trying to like sext or.
Yeah.
Yeah, no sex.
Less Stewie Griffin.
Oh.
Hello. Will.
Fatman.
Will, how are you, Batman?
I hate all of you.
Shut up.
Hey guys.
The other guest that you'll be hearing throughout this podcast is my dog Ahsoka, who's
Yes.
on my lap, and she doesn't like strangers, and so she'll be periodically growling at Bueno, probably around the time that he starts speaking, and she's reminded that he's here.
She's my soundtrack.
Yeah,
Every time I talk, it's
and you can
your
growl.
growl.
Yeah.
It's like DMX.
Yeah.
It's like your ex-wife is here or something.
Oh
Exactly.
no.
Yeah.
So we read a bunch of stuff for this episode. We read the Legend of Sleepy Hollow,
Yes.
and we read 5 different stories from Edgar Allan Poe. I should have had the list ready, but it's the case of Vladimir, the masquerade of something, the cask of something.
Jesus. You know, I assume we all remember. I know what I read.
Yes.
Yeah, I read the strange. I don't know.
So these stories we read is
Oh, there you go.
The City in the Sea,
Yes, I said that.
The Masquerade of the Red Death,
I
Yes.
said that too.
The Facts in the Case of M. Vladimir,
That's what I said.
and The Cask of...
Amontillado.
You
The
heard
one
me
you
say
laughed
it.
at so much.
Yeah. So, and then.
And lastly, The Raven.
The Raven, yes. And because this is a Halloween special, so we all have to read The Raven.
That's right. Someone was against it, but we
I wasn't against
we
it.
voted her out.
Okay,
It
so.
was a vote?
Yes.
There
No.
was a vote.
There was no vote. So, we can start with. Damn, if we. Okay, well, we can start with the Edgar Allan Poe stuff, because that's. We just finished it now. What did you guys think?
First of all, the narrating was amazing.
It was good, but for me, the audio quality, because it was so old. So the ones that we read were narrated by Vincent Price and some other old dude.
Yes.
So
Basil Rathbone.
yeah, that guy. So it was kind of hard to understand at
I
some
was
points.
playing already better than you.
Damn.
I'm getting dirty looks right now. For those of you who can't see it.
Which is everyone.
No. Our YouTube followers will be able to see.
Yes.
Oh,
That's right, boy, they can see you.
That's right.
me not pick my nose.
Why? I always do.
Never more.
What did you guys think?
Which part? Which one? Which one are we talking
All the
about?
stories in general.
So I didn't listen to all the stories.
What?
I
You don't
thought,
admit that.
I mean, I
Wait,
listened to a
made it
few
very
of them.
clear. Not all of them. We were only listening to the ones
I
that we
take back my
chose.
previous statement.
I-
You're really bad at this point.
I definitely know. You said we don't admit that. that obviously states that you've done this before.
I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. He just like, was there ever a book that he just like,
Most of
said
them.
yes to?
Most
Like
of them.
you said something about it. He's like, yeah, I remember that part. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I read everything.
Eventually.
Exactly when I was supposed to read it. And recalled as much as I should have recalled.
So,
How
Bruno,
dare you?
what would you like to tell us about the ones you read?
So I read The Cask of Amontillado.
Hang on, Bon.
Sorry for the adjustment. Hope you didn't see anything. Hear anything.
Go ahead.
I read The Cask of Amontillado. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I mean, they say it like so many times.
I mean, it's all these voices, and then the narrators are not Native American English speakers, so they're saying it with heavy accents too. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it was something. I mean, so initially I was listening to it, and I decided I needed to read it. Like I needed to see it. And once I picked it up and I was listening to it while reading, because it seems like you didn't enjoy Basil Rathbone.
Oh yes, I did.
The wonderful work from no, but
I did so.
I was like really into it because it was like creepy, you know. And you're right, it does seem very old.
Yeah, it's a goal.
So and listening to it while reading it, you know, I finally got to understand it and I got to enjoy the what I was listening to.
So that's. I'm trying to see if I understand the story. He's sick, right? He's dying, and he's got a disease of some form, right? And that's why he's coughing so much.
No, actually.
So what is it?
So I forgot. Do you guys? We spoilers?
No. I'm asking. Go ahead. Go for
Okay.
it.
So it's about this guy who named Montresor, who is insulted many times by this guy named Fortunato. It's a frenemy
And
for sure.
Fortunato's the one who's not coughing.
No.
He's
the one who's
that's
coughing.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So Fortunato is I think it means like fortunate one in Italian or something.
Our resident Italian speaker.
Oh, well, you he
You are correct.
whew,
She's growling.
I passed the
No,
first
she was-
test. Oh.
Now she's growling because you snapped at her. She don't like that. Oh shit.
I don't like you. Right now.
Anyway, go ahead.
So it's about him really not liking this guy, but acting like his friend. Now they're both wine connoisseurs.
I heard that part where they were
Yeah.
going back and forth about a certain grape.
Yeah.
I will point out I didn't know what Amontillado was
Oh.
when I started to listen to this.
Mhm.
I had to stop. I'm like, they've said this too many times for me not to know what this means.
Yeah.
We go
it's-
through that a lot on the podcast, especially with all the
Old
ship books
Ship
you write,
references and
ship
all sorts of crazy
references.
stuff. Yeah.
and then
You
previous books.
stop sniffling. Get it figured out. Do something. I don't want this to continue.
Yeah, it's your house. You can blow your nose on whatever you want.
Do you need a tissue?
No.
I'll get one now that I have to cut this out anyway.
Well, since we're
No.
cutting this out.
Would you like a tissue? She can blow your nose and just do the thing?
Sure, let me just get one of those napkins.
This podcast
No,
is brought
this-
to you by random 99 cents.
Can
on
you go
tissue.
get the tissue? Because if I get up, she's going to be...
I guess I'm now the errand boy, but on my way back.
Is that the good? What is that? Oh, it's not good. Then it gets like really wild. It's like, yeah!
This podcast is brought to you by Vicks Vapor Stick. Sniff that shit.
And yes, he's the
Oh,
Is that enough?
one for each.
I have like 80 in my pocket.
So why?
Here you go, sir.
He's the worst. You know I do.
But they're under there, so you need a new one.
Excuse me to your ears.
I'm back. So I was saying, what was I saying? I was saying something.
Zivine?
What were we talking about?
We were talking
We were
about
talking about the story.
the
Yes.
story. So, it's about, Fortunato is his frenemy.
Yeah.
And he wants to get revenge on him.
Yeah.
But he acts like, everything's cool. So they're wine connoisseurs. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out what Amontillado is.
Yeah.
It's a wine.
Yeah.
a
Well,
type
it's a
of wine.
grape.
Well, yes.
It's a varietal.
a variety.
Well, we both work at the same job.
I know.
Are you both the resident wine experts?
Not experts, but
No,
we
but we
have
worked at a
experience.
wine cellar
Okay.
a
at
famous
different
one.
times. Yeah.
Yes.
So, a famous one.
Yeah.
So and it's about him kind of luring him in to his.
So then what's the deal with the cough?
Oh, he's just sick
But that's it.
and drunk. I mean, yeah, that's it.
Oh.
That's it.
It's
also
sick and drunk.
they're also
That's great.
underground and there's
And there's,
niter.
like, moisture or
There's
something?
niter on the walls, and I think that's just like that. I didn't really see what it was. I mean, it sounds like they're talking about like
Moisture.
Well, they were in the catacombs.
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the air is just really not really
Well,
good
it's
to
probably a lot of
continue
water
breathing.
down there. There's probably a lot of water and moisture down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not the best place to be if you're coughing.
Right.
Exactly.
Certain smell of decay.
Did you like your
Yeah.
story?
I loved my story.
Yeah?
Especially once I understood it,
Uh-huh.
or I could catch on. I only, to be honest, I haven't had a lot of experience with Poe.
Uh-huh.
The Raven was something I read very young and barely understood it. And then I got to see this, and I hear so many good things about this specific short story. What a crazy story
Mm-hmm.
about, I mean, did you remember how it ended?
Death, I think.
Well,
if
I
remember
mean-
correctly. Yeah. That not all the stories end in death.
It's not the death, it's how he died. Because technically he didn't die.
So
at the
hit
end.
us with it then.
He lured him into the catacombs
Mm-hmm.
where he walled him in and let him die of starvation.
Oh, that's what he was building?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
building the wall.
That's why he talked about hearing the screams.
Yeah, okay. I just thought, you're in catacombs, people scream.
What catacombs have you been?
None, because I'm not crazy. If it gets too dark in the cemetery, like if it gets shady, I leave. It's like, oh, the sun is moving. Okay, it's time to go.
The cloud rolls in.
Yes.
Like, where'd Dennis go?
Exactly.
You're never gonna be the protagonist of
Yes,
a horror
I'm
film.
not the brave Negro in this story.
Your story, E? Oh, no, the DJ Muerta.
In case you haven't gotten to that point in our podcast, we each got
He's
DJ's
addressing
names.
Bueno.
I got DJ Morsa.
He gave himself that name. What do you mean, got it?
No, you gave it
You
to
gave
him.
it to
I
me.
gave it to you. I don't
Yes.
even know what that word means.
Walrus.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
I think I should be DJ Amnesia because I always forget all the stuff. Like I recommended our last book or one of our last books.
Oh
my
I didn't even remember it.
It was
Oh, no.
such a trip.
And it was
yeah.
a good book too.
It was good. It was just a trip.
Like
I
we-
would have loved to take credit
So,
for that.
so as far as DJ Morsa,
Right. So
Dennis is DJ
Cabezón.
Cabezón,
oh wow.
and then I'm
Thank
DJ
you,
No
Charlie.
Toca.
No toca. I thought that would have been her name.
Almost.
Just for
Ahsoka,
you.
almost, yeah.
Just to you.
DJ Morsa.
so I read.
Wait. What's Wino's DJ name? He used to DJ.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't
You
think
don't
it
have
would
to
fit
put
in
that
this
out there
setting.
right
I mean, I could,
It's
but
up to you.
I'm not in the business anymore. So yeah, I mean, you're probably gonna find my MySpace somewhere.
Ooh,
Uh,
MySpace.
My name was DJ Chameleon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or pronounced Chameleon.
Oh,
okay.
Like
Of
like a
course.
true Dominican, right?
Mhm.
Chameleon. What was I saying? Oh,
What
the book I
story did
read.
you read?
Yes.
The City in the Sea.
That was short. That was a poem.
Yeah, it was a poem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys got all the references to the Wonderful Devil, and I think that basically the poem is the nature of the sea.
Uh-huh.
It's
Mhm.
gonna kill you. You stay out there long enough, it's going to murder
Has anyone ever been on a boat, like on a cruise for a long time?
you. Yes.
Yeah.
At some point, you start looking out at the ocean, especially like when it starts to come to sunset, and you stop looking at the sun, and you realize the vastness of the ocean,
Mhm. Yeah.
and how this giant boat you're on,
Uh-huh.
it's not that big
No.
in comparison.
Right? Yeah.
And you just think, I could die and no one would know.
Man, listen.
So-
You could be on a mass grave and nobody would ever know.
You're either having two thoughts at one point on a cruise ship.
Yes.
You're either thinking, I'm king of the world,
Yes.
or I could die.
That's right.
Well,
Or both.
I'm gonna die filled with shrimp. Yes.
The cruise that we were on was really intense because we were setting off. The captain came out and said it was his final voyage. So I'm like, okay, he's
I don't even
retiring
like the way
after
that
this.
sounds.
And then our cruise was going to Puerto Rico. No, it was
Bermuda.
Bermuda, and we're about to dock.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I have a comment.
So
The
we're about to
triangle?
dock, and then we had to wait outside of the island for a night because there was a tropical storm. The tropical storm leaves, we dock, we have a good old time. We're headed back, we hit the storm. So we wake up and the fucking ship is rocking like crazy. There's lightning. We had a one of the rooms on the outside with a balcony. Lightning is striking. We can see through the balcony. And I wake up and all I could think was like, we're this ship in the middle of the ocean, and if we were to capsize, like it would be a long time before somebody could probably come get us or help or come. So I'm like, you know what? This is the captain's last voyage. He's been at this. He's probably dealt with the ship before. We're gonna be fine. And that was my thought to just be like, I'm not even gonna worry about it. It'll be fine. It's gonna be okay. But we both woke up and we were like, what did we do? Why are we here?
Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah. So
Can I?
that was Bueno's motorcycle somebody stole.
For sure.
So, one, you said the cabin comes on after you get on the boat,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and after you're
like a full 24 to 48 hours.
Exactly.
We have the captain's dinner, and they're like, oh,
Exactly.
by the way, this is my last go.
This is my last go around. First of all, I'm headed toward the Bermuda Triangle with a captain who's on his last voyage. That can't be good. Do helicopters land on the ship?
No.
Can I get the fuck off?
No.
How easy is it to detach one of the life rafts?
Who knows?
I don't know. But all this is going through my head.
Mm-hmm.
How close am I to land? Could I swim there?
No.
Exactly. And should I be suspended in water in Bermuda Triangle?
So you want to know something creepy?
Yeah.
For anyone who has the displeasure of using the Sprint network.
No, no.
There is no such thing.
Well, it's dead now.
That's
yes.
right. We're all on T-Mobile now.
That's right. But before, I was on Sprint, and I was always the guy that was like, "Hey, look, my phone doesn't work. Hey, look, my phone doesn't work." And her phone worked everywhere.
Because I had T-Mobile.
And we get on this boat, and we can no longer see land. And for some fucking reason, I had 4 bars.
That's right.
I'm like, why does the Sprint network work in the middle of the fucking ocean?
You mean,
What is the point?
Oh, okay. Either you had a satellite phone, or
Burner phone. You brought your burner phone with you? Damn, that's fucked up.
The one antenna that the Sprint has is in the Atlantic Ocean?
yes, they're only the only network for cruisers.
Oh,
Hey.
Oh yeah, we've
Tell
got
us
this
about your
topic.
story. We'll cut all that shit out.
Dennis. Well, it wasn't a story. It was a poem, basically about the ocean.
Uh-huh.
It'll kill you.
Did they mention Sprint Network?
Probably. You
Yeah.
said the devil plenty of times.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. Actually, I think the devil is Verizon. Yeah,
Because it's expensive?
because it's expensive and their check is red. It's a red. The symbol is a red check.
You're right. But that's it. That's it.
As if your soul got it. That kind of thing.
I wasn't overly impressed with my story. I was just like, oh, right.
I enjoyed mine.
Oh, so I'm gonna tell us about
I enjoyed mine. I forgot the name of the story.
Well,
The
I
cat-
guess you
the-
didn't
the
avoid
masquerade,
enjoying it
no?
enough.
Huh?
it. The Masquerade?
Yes. So we were listening to it again here because the first time I went through it on my own, I was like, am I really retaining any of this?
Mhm.
But the second time I heard it, it kind of stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just the idea of it, it was like this red death, like
Mm-hmm.
these rooms in this party, and this castle, and death is stalking you in this one room. He starts in this one room, and then all of a sudden he's following you through the whole party.
It actually reminded me of an episode of Twilight Zone. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys have seen it, but there's this one particular episode where this old man is dying, and he asks everyone in the family to put on these masks.
Oh, he has the pig face one.
pig
That's
face
the
ones.
greatest episode.
And then they had everyone in his family has to wear these masks until a certain age, until the clock chimes 12, and then
Yeah.
when they take their masks off, their faces have taken on the pig form of the mask,
Well,
and that's kind of what this
specifically
felt like a little
both.
bit.
Well, just because we this on the tangent podcast.
Well, this is an extra episode, so
Exactly.
we won't have to deal with it.
Well, in that episode of Twilight Zone, the mask were he matched the mask to your
the
particular
personality.
So
Yeah.
if you were some were pig faces and others just showed their greed or their
They were ugly, disformed faces.
they're ugly faces. I'm mixing up the episodes because I love the Twilight Zone.
Mhm.
But some people wore pig masks because they were greedy, and others it was the mask matched your lack of character.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or your particular sin.
Yeah, your particular problem or
Mhm.
everything. So it's
I don't recall that one. Let's watch
So
it.
tell us about so
But
there's
the
a
story is-
masquerade party.
yeah, the masquerade story. So there's different rooms. There's white rooms and there's blue rooms,
Mhm.
but there's also a red room. Like one of the rooms has glass, glass windows, but they're all scarlet,
Mhm.
blood colored, as they describe them. And this is the room of the Red Death.
Well, he doesn't show up at first.
No, he doesn't show up at first.
He shows
But-
up, and the host is like, "What the fuck is going
Yeah,
on? How
'cause there's
dare
this-
somebody show up like this?"
Giant man, this tall man, he's covered in red, and he's stalking like the party, and it's just the imagery of it is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a party you definitely want to go to.
Do you?
Yeah, of course.
Everyone dies in the end.
Yeah, come on. Why wouldn't you want to be there?
I
Somebody
mean,
you
could go out
don't
with a
like
bang.
is gonna die.
It sounds like a beautiful party.
Exactly.
That's
great.
the one where the person who was orchestrating the party was an
Yeah, the host
eccentric,
is a
right? That they were
prince.
saying that
Yeah.
he was, when they were saying he's a madman, right?
Yeah,
Is that the one?
He's got money. Yeah.
yeah.
What about if you're the person that nobody likes?
Then you die, but you still get to the party first.
I mean, that's a good point.
But everyone dies.
Exactly. You're dying right now, Brian. Slowly.
Inside.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Aw.
Yeah. Just not on the podcast.
Aw.
But if you wanted to, it's on video, so it's gonna work out for us.
Yeah, no, let's not.
No.
So
I
my
have my
story.
CPR
It'd be the
certification.
best episode ever.
No.
Best Halloween
Oh,
episode.
we would definitely get more followers.
No, we get views, not followers. What's going on? What did you feed him in those stuffed shells?
What did you feed me? They were red.
Several forms of tomato.
Oh, several forms? I think there's only like, what, a handful of varietals of tomato?
Genetic modifications.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them had hair.
How many tomatoes can you hold in your hand?
I don't know. I mean, I have pretty big hands.
I'm just using a handful.
Yeah, it's like if you get like a regular like beefsteak tomato, and then you've got like grape tomatoes, and then you've got like plum tomatoes. Like that, you get a couple in there.
So back on the tomato podcast.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Is it called Mask of the Red Death?
Yes.
Masquerade.
Oh,
That's something.
yes,
You
Masquerade
have
or
these
Mask of
stories.
the Red Death. Esteban's the one with the
He's
notes.
the list person.
Yes, he's the guy with the notes.
I believe I told you about that.
Oh yeah. You didn't tell me you were the resident Italian speaker, but
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The Masquerade
Mm.
of the Red.
Yes.
Which is a nice story.
Yes.
Mine was the case, the facts, the something of the blah 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 or something.
Yes, yours had the very long title.
Mm-hmm.
The facts in the case of M. Valdemar.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Spider-Man?
This was the reason why I picked this story is because I'm a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes, as I've mentioned in earlier podcasts, and so this story sounding like a Sherlock Holmes is like done. I'm taking it, and it starts out and reads exactly like a Sherlock Holmes. Like it's very very similar in use of language to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The problem I had was because the audio quality is so bad. The story itself is about this person who's not sure if, or doesn't recall any case where someone's tried to hypnotize a dead person. So he proceeds to do that.
Yes.
In the story, he hypnotizes the dead person and manages to bring them back to life and has a conversation with them.
That's right.
Every time the narrator, I think it was Vincent Price, is giving the part of the dead person, I couldn't fucking understand it. It's just like, I'm dead, I've been sleeping many years. Okay. But it was really interesting and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so the audio quality sounds like maybe it was recorded on like vinyl or something
It's
like that.
definitely
Probably,
really
yeah.
old. Yeah. So and the narration, the quality of the narrators was really good.
Like
I
every once in a while, you
enjoyed-
can hear the scratching.
I enjoyed the like atmospheric
Mhm.
thing of it, but playing a story like the one we were playing on a speaker so that everyone could hear it made kind of the mumbly parts of it a little hard to understand.
That's right.
But I like stories where they experiment with dead people, like the Frankensteins and the stories about like hypnotizing a dead person to
Yes.
make it sound, like, see if you can bring it back to life.
So here's a question.
Oh no.
So he hypnotized this guy.
Yeah.
Which basically kept his body intact.
Yeah.
So was that cruel?
Yes. Of course it is.
No cooler than embalming fluid.
No, because you're conscious. You're like your
Right.
brain is active and conscious on some degree. I don't know if it's 100%, but it was enough to be like I was dead. I was sleeping. So he knows that he's dead. He can't move. He can't do anything. Who knows if he's feeling hunger, thirst, needs to.
Right.
You know nothing.
Well, I don't know if anybody else here has been preserved with a medical coma.
No.
I have. I didn't remember anything, but I think they were dreams.
Mm.
I think they were dreams.
Hmm.
Yeah. So So
Weird flex, but okay.
I'm not, wasn't trying to, I wasn't trying to flex it in any way, but it's a thing I went through. It's like I do remember like weird dreams, and I don't know if that's like a side effect of the coma or whatever.
Or like those are like moments of consciousness that your like mind pieces together as a dream almost.
Because I definitely remember like seeing my family, and they said we spoke at some point during the coma, but I was like, I don't remember any of that.
But you feel like you have a dream of it.
But yeah, I think I had like vague dreams about it, or like flashes of like consciousness, and that don't make sense to me.
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Got it.
You know what's funny?
Huh?
Like a really small world. Someone recommended an album to me, a music album that's meant to. I got into the Mars Volta recently. Have you ever heard them?
I've heard of them. I don't know if I've heard them.
So their first album, Deloused in the Chromatorium, it's about a friend of theirs who was in a coma, and it's literally about a self-induced. I think it was
like a medically induced coma.
It was a coma, I think, because he was trying to kill himself.
That wasn't mine.
But, no, I understand.
I understand you understand that, but I'm just making it clear. I was not trying to, because the doctor, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that it was a crazy album and it was great, but it's just interesting because you're talking about like what's it like to be in a coma. And it's like I assume that's what they were going for. Yeah. And so to like just that whole concept. Now I'm just really interested because like that's three things I've heard about.
Synchronicities. That's really interesting. When I was, I don't know how old, maybe between the years of like 10 to 15, there was a fun thing going around in my circles because at the time I was living in Long Island, and what they would do is they would have you hold your breath, and then they would take their fists and apply them to your throat, and they'd have you hold your breath for a series of 5 seconds, and then they would like say a thing, right? They'd say like La La Land or something like that, and you'd pass out for a few seconds, and then you'd have this like while you're in this like passed out state, you'd be like La 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 Land, and you'd like have this thing, and you'd come back and not remember it. And they tried to do it to me, and I never passed out. But my friend at the time, they did it several times, and it would work. Like she'd pass out, she'd recite whatever crazy nonsense they were gibbering about while she was in the process of passing out, and then she'd come back a few seconds later, and so.
I don't want to meet this friend.
And why did you refer to that as a fun thing?
That's what they were doing. It was fun to them.
I gotta say, first of all, I did the two.
You did it?
Yeah. Second of all, I like to point out that we were very dumb kids to be doing that. That was called the pass out game.
Oh, okay.
And, well, in our school, one kid did it. Okay, so you go off into pairs. One does you, and then you do them afterwards. Sounds terrible.
Yeah, I had a game like this in my school. It wasn't the same.
He held on to me, and I was like, this isn't really gonna work, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all I saw was a lake, and it was almost like there was an eclipse.
Oh.
So it was like dark, but like I could see across the lake, and all I hear was, we weren't told to say anything. It was literally hold your breath and hold you. And all I could hear was like little children singing.
No, that's so creepy.
I was like, what am I doing here? Oh no, this worked. Am I dead? And then, obviously, he's supposed to let go when I lose consciousness. He let go, and right when he let go, my eyes opened up and I saw him, but then I saw blinks of him as I was slowly falling to the side because the idiot let me go. So like he let me go. Like you're supposed to hold on to him.
Yeah.
I literally like saw in slow motion as like I was tipping over to the side, bam, hit my head on the ground. I was fine except for like a chichong on my head.
Yeah.
I assume it's a giant knot.
Yeah, for those, it's like a swollen egg, bruise.
About half of maybe a third of the people here got it. Sorry.
I'm the only one that doesn't speak Spanish, so.
Abondigas.
Thank you.
DJ Abondigas.
Yeah, that was the end of the story. I didn't die.
No, that's great. Yeah, I tried it once and only once because even at any age, they were like, yeah, we're doing this thing and it's fun and you pass out and you hold your breath. I was like, that sounds like a really fucking stupid idea. And so they tried it and my face turned all shades of red and there was all sorts of crazy shit going on and I just never passed out. And so
See, when he tells a story, it sounds like he played like light as a feather, stiff as a board,
uh-huh.
and had like some sort of hallucinogenic
Yeah.
with it. Yours sounds like somebody was trying to kill you. And turned it into a game.
I mean, it might be. We were all taking turns, and they were like, asked me multiple times if I would do it. And finally, I was like,
Here,
fine.
you keep reciting this statement while I hold on to your neck.
Yeah,
It's like,
basically, it's just like
yours sounds like somebody was
La
strangling
La
you.
Land,
Yeah.
La
Yeah.
La Land, La La Land,
Yeah.
until you pass out and you're like, in La La Land.
Not gonna lie.
No.
No.
Not gonna lie. It sounds like a Poe story. Like, oh, the
Yeah.
friends we're all playing this knockout game separately, but
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I really want to kill this person.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just a story about strangling this
Yeah,
person to
yeah.
death.
Did you
Oh,
go to,
I didn't
did you go to
Thanks
school
for
in the
bringing it
catacombs?
back. I appreciate that.
I got you.
Getting back to Poe, what did you guys think of the stories in general? How do you feel after reading about it? Because I knew that he was popular even from his time and going forward because he wrote really morbid stuff. I was mostly familiar with his very popular pieces like The Raven and Telltale Heart and those kinds of things. They stuck with me. I read them when I was young. I enjoyed them. I never really read anything else, so this was like my first foyer into other things.
Yeah. The book on the table, it's mine. I still haven't read it.
Oh, yeah, I have one of those, but mine is
Like I've read,
Dante
I've
Alighieri.
I've looked at stuff, referenced stuff when I needed to, that sort of thing. I'm gonna read the Telltale Heart because I haven't read it and have heard so much about it. The Raven I know because of I'm a pedestrian. I've heard about it other ways, but I also am familiar with it because of The Simpsons.
Yes.
Yeah,
Didn't they do Telltale Heart as well?
I'm not sure. I think they might have.
They
Sure he
had
did.
to.
Fun
probably.
fact: Edgar Allan Poe is actually a Bronxite, which is the same place, the same borough that we are
Currently in, yeah.
currently in.
You
It's
look
where
surprised, Buena.
I
It's
never
the home-
knew that.
It's the
Did-
home of Obelix Podcast. And
Did you know that you can visit his home? It's a museum.
When I was reading the site I was reading from was like the museum website. I never looked more into it just because I was like I had to just keep
nice.
reading.
I
But
just
I
assumed
did
that
not
you
know
knew.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so
So
dope.
his college is actually by what hospital? The Montefiore, right? Is that it?
Well, it's on Fordham Road, the park
Uh-huh.
where it's on.
Yeah, and so you can go see it. It's a little cottage.
I'm not sure if it's open at the moment because
I really
COVID.
wonder
COVID.
what the Bronx is like at that time that would make him write all this morbid shit.
I mean,
It's pretty dreary.
I assume there were a lot of crows.
Maybe.
a lot less buildings and things,
Yeah.
That's
more
not-
cottages.
The only fun fact I have about him, though, I don't really know much else about him. I don't know what
Well,
like, the inspiration for him
Blocks has
was.
a lot of famous people from it.
Well,
Mhm.
from what I understand, also by the house is also they marked the place where he died because Poe was an alcoholic. Poe liked to go out and drink. He didn't always make it home. And one of those nights, he died.
Wait,
Did he actually have alcohol poisoning? Was he murdered?
They don't say.
You don't know?
Edgar Allan Poe was dark and twisty? No.
The last story that we read was The Raven, which I'm gathering from the table. Most of you guys haven't read or listened to in a long time.
Yeah.
What did you think? Did it live up to the hype? How do you feel about it against the stories that we read?
It still feels the way it did the first time I've heard it. And just the imagery there is so kind of vivid to me. Just being in this dark home, this big dark manor, and just hearing this knocking at the door. Like we've all been home at some point and by yourself, and something knocks at the door, and like imagine being somewhere where there's no doorbell, so it's not like
Right.
there's a person there. And usually it's like a ding dong ditch type situation where it's like, oh god, now I gotta go answer the damn door, but I know there's no one there. Just some kid ringing the bell because he's got nothing better to do. And then you open the door and it's dark outside. It's like, well, first of all, I'm not opening the door, as I've said earlier. I'm
Right.
not the brave one here. I will just be in the house hiding while you try to break in. I'm fine with that. I'm sure there's a gun somewhere.
Knife, stabby,
Yeah, yeah.
stabby.
No, I don't trust myself with a knife. I'll just fall and stab myself. It's a thing I think about. I think like that. It's like if I pick up this knife and try to defend myself, I'll end up stabbing myself. It's why I don't own a gun. That and because I'm black and I live in New York.
Got it. Check,
struggle.
check.
Yeah. It's just it's a difficult thing to do. Like in New York, if you have a gun, and it's like well, we don't want you to have guns type thing. But also like with to get back to the story, welcome to the Tangent Podcast, and just the like being in a dark place and somebody knocking at the door or hearing a sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially if you live in an old house. The house I live in is 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the furnace is not that old, but it's like, it feels like it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you put too much water in the furnace, it knocks, like, really hard.
Oh.
Like, I remember being the first time of being in my house by myself and, like, turning the heat on, and, like, the fucking pipes are, like, knocking. And I'm like, oh, shit. What the fuck is that? And it's like, because I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like, it's just, and it's like a violent banging in the
Yeah,
walls.
yeah, yeah,
And it's
no.
like, what's in the walls?
I know exactly
Like,
what
bang,
you're talking
yeah.
about. Yeah, we don't really. Our pipes actually do bang here, but not like that.
No. So we recently been getting creeped out here,
Oh yes.
and it's gonna sound weird.
It's happened before for different reasons, but
So, for the past 2-3 nights,
so yeah.
the dogs will be where we can see them, and the dogs will not have a toy, but we can clearly hear
A squeaky.
a squeaky toy
Yep.
being squeaked,
Mm-hmm.
and we're like, okay, dog 1, no toy. Dog 2, no toy. Who's squeaking the toy?
Who's squeaking the fucking toy? And the crazy thing is, at one point earlier today, I heard the squeaky toy while I was in the living room.
Ah.
Several hours later, I was in the bedroom and heard the fucking squeaky toy. And in both of those scenarios, the dogs were where we could see them, and neither of them had a squeaky. Like, we were looking at the one that usually has the toy, and she was looking at us, and then she turned to look who squeaked the toy.
Right.
She looked around like, what happened?
Yeah.
So it's been it's been a little crazy.
Yeah. Even more recently than the ominous knock we just heard.
Yeah, understanding. Fucking
um,
neighbors.
was that these guys just went to meet Bueno at the station, and they're, you know, like, and we're all on a group text, you know, texting each other back and forth, you know, like what kind of beer we want, whatever, that sort of thing. And I guess like a notification on Ariana's phone, which she had left here, caused the speaker to like make this ominous chirping sound. And I was just talking to them earlier about the bird they don't have that I'm now hearing. And then there are these, you know, like bird figures on the table, and I was just like, what the fuck? Excuse my language. All the hell is that bird sound? We were just talking about how you don't have a bird. You're not bird people.
Right.
Why do I keep hearing a bird?
You know,
Like loud and clear.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
I like to keep things spicy.
There hasn't been a bird here in 20 years.
Yeah, well, our neighbors, I don't know what the fuck they do upstairs.
They're
lock
clogging.
stuff. Yeah, they're doing something.
They like to move their furniture.
Yes.
But they're
So
very
my-
on cue for this podcast.
Yes. They're our Dutch neighbors.
Dutch neighbors. My apartment has a long hallway, and sometimes I hear a kid running
Oh.
across it, and I don't know if it's because maybe the next door has a hallway too,
Mm-hmm.
and I just hear it because you know the floors or whatever. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know how that works, but I hear it all the time. Sometimes while I'm in the hallway,
Mhm.
just running right by me, and I'm just like, bruh.
No.
Like, I really hope this is my neighbors. Like, is this what happens in horror films where they're just like, oh, that must be the wind? It's like, you know, I'm making excuses for it.
Well, at least in horror films, you would be in like a house you shouldn't be in for you know some random teenage
Right, you're
reason. Yeah.
like going on a trip or breaking into someone's house because you heard it was haunted, and then you act like it's
Well,
not.
if it's small children running through a hallway, you're actually in a giant hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You're writing a novel,
Yes,
Mhm.
and you brought your wife and kids,
that's right.
and it's haunted.
Oh man, that's such a good story. Yeah,
The Overlook Hotel, isn't that a real place though?
it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am Johnny.
That's right. His first name's actually John.
I keep forgetting that you have other names.
We all
Most people
call
do.
him
You
Bueno.
thought it was Bueno Bueno?
I thought you were just one.
my middle name is
Bueno.
also Bueno.
I thought you had one name. I thought you were Cher.
You're like shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I thought you were Bueno.
That's it.
I was like, if I was Bueno, I'd be fucking Bueno. Shit. Excuse me, I'm cursing a lot.
So the Raven, Edgar Allan Poe in general. Anything? Are we fan casting any of these stories?
Do we need to?
We can.
Are we what?
Fantastic.
Fancast. We
Usually
do a
we
thing-
go through and say, if this was a movie or a TV show or something, who would we cast in these
Right.
situations?
And usually we do two versions. We'll do like a series, like who we'd actually like to really like see, and then we do an alternate fan cast that's fucking ludicrous.
Yes.
Which I always cast Sean Connery.
We have a
every
repertoire,
Yes.
so we always cast Sean Connery, William Shatner,
Yes.
The Rock.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves makes several appearances.
Definitely.
Patrick Stewart.
It's a meritocracy, so we only put in people we know would be good or horrible.
Oh, horrible.
Yes.
Yeah. So are there any
Never
characters?
anything in the middle.
No,
Never. Never.
Are there any characters that you? I think we just stick to the alternate fan cast.
Yes.
Who do you think would be ridiculous? I'd like to see The Rock play the guy from The Raven.
Oh my god.
I would like to cast Jaleel White as the Raven.
What?
No, he's digging.
He does that. Who?
Jaleel White.
Who's that?
Urkel.
Urkel?
as the Raven. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
He
I love
doesn't.
that.
He always says, "Nevermore, Laura."
Exactly.
Nevermore. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God, you dated yourself. Actually, I
The
don't think
Rock
many people
giving
even know that
the
show.
people's eyebrow to the Raven.
Mm-hmm. Are there any people that you would really ratchetly love to see play your characters from your show?
I mean, like just a calm version would be like what Seth Rogen and James Franco. Or
definitely.
you just
Ooh.
Definitely.
as the question is, who would be the one killing and who would be the one
Oh, another version could be Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. And we've seen them play a similar role because
That
they
would
did
be
No
serious,
Man's Land.
yeah.
getting? But I wouldn't want them to kill one to kill the other.
Oh no, but I do.
You do?
I want to see how they do it.
Oh.
That would be
I
interesting.
just want to see that now.
Yeah. So who's
Patrick, if you're listening.
I'm surprised they didn't do that on Star Trek. Like have like some sort of Edgar Allan Poe episode.
They might. Who knows? There's like 1,000 episodes.
Well, I mean, they definitely do like they had those weird episodes where they had like Shakespeare and stuff. I mean, I call them weird because they were not had anything to do with space. And usually it had something to do with the holodeck going
Can you
wrong.
please
What?
stop clearing your throat?
It's there. I can't
Can
do
you
it.
Please.
Can we stop bigger? on the podcast?
Anyways, so we recently, tangent, saw the first episode of Next Generation that Patrick Stewart directed.
Oh, which one was that?
Fistful of Datas.
Ah,
What?
I remember.
They have an episode called A Fistful of Days.
A fistful of datas, and it's wonderful.
Was there 2 more episodes to complete the trilogy?
No, it was just one.
It was just one, and it was based in the holodeck, sort of. But it was
Everybody
so
gets the
good.
reference, right?
No.
No,
Oh, you guys never heard of the Man with No Name trilogy?
no.
It's a spaghetti western. It's
It is a
fistful of-
western, actually. It's
It's
a
the-
western based.
Yeah, so it's a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
I
that.
keep
I
forgetting
mean-
Bueno's a film buff, so he knows.
Mhm.
Well, we just watched the first one he directed. There's a possibility they kept going
Mhm.
because he only directed a handful of episodes. Jonathan Frakes did
Yeah.
a lot.
Captain, command director, right?
Yes.
For those of you who are not familiar.
Unfortunately, I have not delved much into the Star Trek.
We won't hold that against you this time.
I've been
This time.
You better start
Star
binging.
Warsing my life up, but one day. I'll,
Wait, you never watched Star Wars?
I said I've been Star Warsing my life up, as in like I was a Star Wars fan my whole life.
Yeah, it's one of those
Um,
things about being a nerd. It's like you can only be some
No,
like.
No, I'm
No.
a nerd of
No,
everything.
I'm not.
No.
It's one of those things. We like some of us think we can only be one type of nerd.
Who thinks this
There's
closed-minded
a lot of
foolery?
people like that.
Did I tell you about the final question I got for an interview when Brian Fox interviewed me?
No, what was that?
So, me and Dennis worked at Best Buy together, and when I got promoted to supervisor, I had an interview with a gentleman named Brian Fox. Basically, he already knew me, and our manager, Gus, basically had already picked me, so it didn't really matter that we were doing this interview. So the final question was just kind of like a, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
So he asked me, Star Wars or Star Trek? And my answer, the way Gus put it, he's like, yo, you just blew this guy's mind. He's broken for a while. And I told him, like, well, it depends how I'm feeling. If I want an action-based, just big explosions, blah, 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 I watch Star Wars. If I want a delve into the human condition show,
If you're
I
looking
watch
for,
Star Trek.
Yeah, if you're looking for more of a cerebral experience, you go with Star Trek.
Those are the main differences. That's it.
For me, is I feel like I need to get into a certain mood. I just said something. That's all.
Yes, but her mommy went away.
You're gonna get left in the hallway.
trying to be intimidating, but it's cute.
You're a Chihuahua. Calm down. What is you? Chihuahua Jack Russell mix?
Yes.
You're not even really a dog. You're a cat.
So
Does anyone want beer?
no.
We're in the middle of filming.
You went off on a work thing. I'm gonna cut that whole shit out.
Why? It's part of the podcast.
I'm not leaving a work thing in there.
It's just a
Best
story.
Buy thing. What?
What?
Could you come back and join the podcast?
I'll take one of those Viking wings. Try to see what that's about. Thank you.
Anyway, well, while we have a moment, Bueno, tell us more about yourself.
Oh, myself?
Yeah, so that's the whole Bueno.
Well, yes. I am a filmmaker, and I work. That's about it, really. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker and I have a day job.
But filmmaker, what does that mean? Does that mean you are trying to break into the film industry? That you are an independent, you work independently? That you make like what type of films?
So it's something that I'm trying to break into the industry, but currently just building up that experience. Getting some work done with like-minded people. We have a web a YouTube channel. It's a web channel. So
Yeah, same difference.
a YouTube channel with some web series and shorts. Should I plug it?
Yeah,
I mean,
why
I
not?
don't know
Yeah,
how you
I
guys
mean-
do with plugs.
No. We do the whole thing at the end of
That's
every
right.
podcast.
Yeah, so on YouTube it's Twist to the Story Productions.
Mm-hmm. Twist to the story.
Yes,
Spelled
Twist to
properly.
the Story.
No weird.
No weird thing.
Cool.
There's
Twist
no big
to-
2 in the middle of it.
There's no Y in
Yeah.
Twist. Or two. Yeah. So it's Twist to the Story Productions. Yeah, so we work on shorts, and it normally started with we had a web series called Happenings, which was a horror anthology, and it was something dear to us and something that we worked on, and then it helped us progress to where we are now.
Nice.
Currently, we did take a break just like everyone did because of the quarantine and everything. Can't really film much. Nobody wants to come out. But that's what I do, and progressing towards the industry, of course.
Oh, good.
I'm a big movie buff,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to make that a career. So
Okay. That's great to hear.
That's
Because
awesome.
when you say filmmaker, it could mean anything. You could be a pornographer.
I mean, to be honest,
Yeah.
the minute I say I work in film, everyone asks, "So is it porn?"
Really?
The question is, I don't know how many are
I've
serious.
never thought of that.
Was he free? I'm sorry, you're not everyone. You definitely didn't say that, but I have messages I can show you, like, oh yeah, I'm working on a film. Oh, what is it? Is it porn? It's like, okay.
Wow, that's terrible.
I can't wait to actually start making porn one day. Yes, it is.
Actually, yeah. And then the chat goes silent. Ugh.
It's like, I was just joking. What you gonna do?
Did we do all the fan casting?
We really didn't start. I mean, we didn't.
Sure.
So I was gonna say,
Go ahead.
because you were talking about Edgar Allan Poe in general,
Mhm.
and I honestly never gave him a fair chance, and I don't know why, because
I would guess, if I could guess, it would that it's one of those things. It's like if you're nerdy, people think, well, this is what you like, or this is the type of thing that you would do. So Poe isn't like a nerdy thing. It's like I think it falls in the category of like where you think of it as intellectual and poet kind of a thing. Where like poetry nerds are like a specific type of group. They're like drama nerds
Right.
type of thing. It's like.
But it also, I think, because I first heard about Poe when I was very young, and the poem Raven and Telltale Heart, they're not hard to read. They're like in that juvenile age range of like early teen adolescence, and so I think he, as a writer, an author, a poet, gets kind of seen in that age bracket of like, this is an adolescent author.
That's it.
You don't really bother to pick it up and as an adult and go back and reread it and realize like, oh shit, he just wrote about somebody locking somebody else up in this thing and listening to them like starve to death, like really morbid stuff, and you don't think about it going back.
I don't think it's morbid. It's more like a fat kid thing.
What?
Like a fat kid. You put them in place and you starve them until such time that you think they're attractive.
What?
Yeah, exactly. See how weird that just got? I can do that all the time. It's just a thing I can do.
Something interesting about those two works that you said, Raven and Telltale Heart. Those are things that works that we got to experience when we were young. I did for sure. And the thing is that they've been remade into many. They've been adapted into many things. I mean, you said Simpsons does everything.
Yeah, I think even earlier, I think we mentioned. Well, I don't know if the podcast was recording though. We were talking about Twilight Zone. I think those have been made into Twilight Zone episodes or some form of it.
So it's like really awesome that like, you know, it keeps being remade to like, you know, even in this time where like definitely kids are not. I feel like kids are reading Poe as much as they should be, even in school. They get to experience it in another form. Yeah. And then maybe, you know, when they're older, they can, you know,
they can kind of get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened with me because, you know, I love film, and you'll see, you know, when we talk about Sleepy Hollow, you know, I love film, and I love even if it's adapted, it's something, you know, that it's based off of work. I see that, and then I use that to judge the work. Now, of course, I'm gonna look at, you know, the original work, and I'm gonna be like, okay, you know, this is how it should have been, you know, because obviously that's what came out first. But, you know, in the back of my head, I'm always like, but that's not how it was in the movie.
That's
and, you know,
the problem that I have, and I have this conversation several times with people. When it comes to adaptations for things, I'm very much a purist. I really fall in love with the original content most of the time, and that's what I want to see represented in film or in TV show, with live action, anime, whatever it is. I want to see the true form of whatever it was originally pulled from. And there's always some sort of artistic license taken with the adaptation in some way that I'm like, but the character's not like that, but the story didn't go like that. What the fuck?
In my mind, I don't mind the adaptation as long as it takes me to a place I didn't think of myself. Like if it's something I could have thought of, and I don't think much of my ability to think in that way, then I'm like, oh, this is boring. Like if you're just doing some sort of pop culture reference,
right,
kind of thing, it's like, what if we put Zach Galifianakis, not Zach Galifianakis, even though that would be great. It's like Zach Galifianakis did like horror and stuff like that. You'd think he'd be awesome at it. But I meant like Zach Morris or something. You know, like some teeny bopper, like in some version of like obviously when Johnny Depp did Sleepy Hollow in
I actually haven't seen that in so long. I don't even remember.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. I remember that. I remember seeing it for the first time on video, actually, in a friend's house. But his house was so dark.
Ooh.
And he had this German Shepherd.
Ooh.
She was sweet, but just the fact that she was like growling in the corner made it so great. Made it a great experience.
Wow.
And he was the friend who had, you know, the best high def system. So it was like, you know, even though the TV was kind of small and the picture wasn't great, but the sound was like knocking everywhere. Just the thumping of it.
Okay, so let's do it then. So we all the other part we read Edgar Allan Poe, and we also read Sleepy Hollow.
Which is also in New York.
Yeah, it is. What did you guys think? Tell me.
I was surprised how short it was.
Why?
Well, I had never read Sleepy Hollow. I've always just watched the movies.
Yeah,
so
same.
in my mind, I was like, oh, so this is going to be one of those epically long. And then when I started looking up to do the podcast, I'm like, why is this so short?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's a short story. I was like, so they
just fluffed it up.
They added a lot.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay. So I listened to it, and I'm like, oh, I still enjoyed it. I was like, but I see why they add stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there, like they spend a lot of time talking about how he looks, and a lot of time talking about how he is basically a scavenger, bouncing from house to house, and like roving around, and there's actually the climax of the story is maybe like a 20th of the whole story. It's just this tiny little thing, where he actually like meets the headless horseman.
Kind of.
sort of, maybe. We don't know yet.
So something I went through is I definitely went exactly through that. My movie mind went like, but what? I saw the length of it and I was like, oh, this is great. Like this must be some fast reading he's doing in his audiobook. It was initially I started with that mindset and I was just like, well, this is I don't know. I don't think they're gonna be continuing, like doing the whole story that I saw in growing up,
Yeah.
And it was really interesting though because I had to kind of forget that, forget about that because I knew I wanted to, enjoy it or like to take it in
For the first time.
Exactly, because it was the first time for me as well. So I tried to just enjoy it, and that last part, it does rev up. I know it's short, compared to the rest, but it does rev up, and if you put it in your try to picture it while you're reading it, you can really get some a good tense moment.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that you go from thinking this whole thing is gonna be tense moments to then you're reading it and he's just very descriptive.
Yeah.
Washington Irving, just very descriptive and just he definitely puts you there, but sometimes you're like, why?
Yeah.
Why do I need to know all
The
that?
first
Get
half
to
of the
good
story,
stuff.
it had like very little to do with the actual story itself and the climax. Like,
But I felt like that. I felt like that before in the podcast. Like,
Yeah, no, for sure.
Stories we read. And I'm like, why am I learning about this whale?
yeah.
Why do I need to know this?
Right,
We read a lot of
but
sheep
that's
stories.
but the thing is
You
like
need to know citations.
Yeah, exactly.
what I'll say is like a Moby Dick size story. There's gonna be fluff.
Yeah.
There are gonna be tangents and,
Yeah.
and things of that nature because
Yeah.
it's a massive story.
That's right.
This was a tiny short story, and even in this short story, it was like, okay, if you lopped off the first half and just told me that a guy, falls for a young lady and he's trying to woo her, and then Mr. Bootstraps shows up at the and she's faking getting his interest to make Mr. Bootstraps, and then you could have summed it all up
Mm-hmm.
the second half of the story,
Yeah.
and I don't think I would have been missing, If anything, now I look at things like Johnny Depp and I'm like, technically that's not the right casting because you're not long and gangly with a giant apple, and
Well, we know why he was put in there. It's
Because-
like,
He's creepy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not just that, because he's in everything that that particular director does.
Oh, what director?
That's the
You want
Yeah,
to
yeah, do it.
Tim Burton.
Thank you. I couldn't remember
Oh,
it for a second.
got it. Oh, I
Tim
didn't
Burton
know it
puts
was
him in like
Tim
everything.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
it's like Leonardo
for me-
DiCaprio and everything. Scorsese does.
But for me, it was just like, no, they
Yeah.
could have cast somebody that looked different. It definitely wouldn't have been him if they were going for accuracy.
Yeah, like it's like Medea being in everything Tyler Perry does.
Speaking of casting, the only person I can think of that fits the bill is what's his name? Long nose, played the pianist.
That's what I thought
Adrian
too.
Brody.
Yeah, Adrian Brody would have been a really interesting casting for that. That makes sense.
Why do I always think of him when I think of a character with a big ass nose?
Because he's got a big ass.
Because it's got big ass nose. There's nothing getting by that.
There's gotta be someone else though.
I don't know. He's known for his nose. Like I don't know any other characters that wouldn't be racially
Is he known for his
insensitive.
nose?
Yeah, his nose is very much prominent in that.
Well, I know it's prominent. I just didn't
No, I
know he's
mean
known
like
for
in,
it.
in like his not just as his face, but also like
Got
in
it.
like how people know him. It's like
Yeah.
big nose actor. It's like people like Adrian Brody. It's
Oh,
like
got
kind
it.
of thing,
Got it. I wonder how he feels about that.
yeah.
I mean, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's great. No, he's wonderful. I did like the fact that Ichabod Crane, as a person in the book, was very interested in lore, in witchcraft, in all of that kind of stuff, and how they mentioned that anywhere he went, he would always end up being like. It's weird. It's almost like if you were doing like an MMO, and you pick like the ugliest character, and then you put all the charisma all the way up. Like that's what I imagine this character being. It's just like a really
That's
gangly,
hilarious.
like
That's
a tall, gangly person who just somehow just like charisma stacks on high and can just like.
But you're also thinking about like the way he was described
Mm-hmm.
in a modern sense, because obviously you're a modern person.
Mm-hmm.
So it like being tall in that way was
Yeah.
probably more attractive back then.
It wasn't
No, you don't
because
think so?
they said like he looked like he was kind of starving all the time.
Yeah, but
But he
I
was
would
just-
think like like in the way, like in some cultures, fat people,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, you're rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because how the only way you can be fat is if you have a lot of money. And like, I think to some extent, like, there was that idea, like, how people with very light skin,
Mm-hmm.
very pale looking people, it's like, that was the thing to be. Like, oh, you're very pale. Like, whereas now it's like everybody's tanning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, even if you're, you're black or brown, you're like,
No,
I tan just a little bit. It's
I
like,
don't
what?
think it's that, because they one other way to say that it was things like how he would make himself extra useful to the mothers at the houses he was staying in, and how he had all these stories everyone wanted to know about. So eventually, like, people would be listening to him telling his stories, even though it made him extra paranoid on the way home.
Well, I guess if I was staying with a lot of people, I would try to make myself at least interesting.
Charisma stacks on high. Yeah. So, it just.
I would say though that something I was disappointed with, and I guess, I mean, I don't know if that was the intention, but I liked him. Like, I wanted him to succeed, and it just not just because he was the protagonist, but just, you know, he was the underdog in that thing that Triced, trying to get that was her name Katrina Van Tussle? Was that
something? Yeah, Van Tassel something.
Yeah, so I wanted him to succeed, and to see him leave early and everything, and I was just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, there's an opportunity here. I mean, I realized that, Brom Bones, that's the other guy's name. Brom Bones, how do you fight that? How do you, like, win against a guy named Brom Bones?
Right. I did appreciate the little detail they gave us into the horses of each person, and it helped when Ichabod was being chased down by the headless horseman, the fact that, like, we kind of knew that his horse was like a war veteran almost, and that the horse would be running, added a little bit of extra to that whole scene. It was kind of nice. I appreciated the little detail. Hey, you over there with the headband, speak some.
I kind of feel the way they set up his character is, in a way, to show us why he would leave. For instance, the fact that he was into the magic, that he would look up all this stuff, and then he hears a story, and this giant buff guy decides to play a trick on him. Maybe a normal non-believer might be like, there's something fishy here, but a believer is packing his shit and going home.
Mm-hmm.
So they set him up to be someone who would dive fully into this, which...
Wait, hang on. Are you talking about at the end where they're like, we don't know what happened to him, but there's a story that he left to some other city?
Where they're like, he's a lawyer somewhere, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, all we found was a...
though.
Yeah,
It's not confirmed. It could be that he did meet the headless horseman. You never know.
No, they found a pumpkin and Brom got his woman.
I don't know.
Generally, I think people named Brom would get their woman.
Brom Bones.
I honestly, because, he was the character that I was rooting for, and it sounds weird to say this after saying that, but I hope that he died, because I'd rather he died than, ran off to, not be shamed.
It sounds like he was successful, though. It sounds like he ran off to be a successful... He made it all the way to the government system. Like, I think by the time he was done, he was, like, in the justice or something.
Right.
So, it wasn't like he ran off and became some fucking bum. Like, he did the things. What happened to him?
He's gonna no bum. You definitely think he's definitely thinking about Katrina though. Come on.
Unless he found some something over here, you never know. Some bay in New York City.
New York.
And, he's got a better job. Probably can, eat more and exercise so he's not all skinny and
Do people
look like a scarecrow. Yeah, it's called working.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
Because think about, like, when they describe what he did. He would teach at schools, then he would just go hang out with the mother and the child. Labor intensive wise, this dude
he was banging all the moms.
Maybe.
No, that's what that means. You hanging out with kids and their mothers, you banging the moms.
Going up to mom being like, is there anything I can
He's
be
such a
of
good
service?
teacher. I bet you he is.
And he would,
Disgusting.
and he would sing.
Exactly.
He's got
See,
the voice.
that's what I'm saying.
Charisma stacks.
Yep.
That was a perfect analogy, by the way.
Yeah.
As a gamer, I'm grateful for that one.
Unfortunately, he left his strength at one, and Brom was like, "I'm gonna smack you."
That's right.
Clearly his agility
This
is pretty
makes
high.
me think of what's the name from the last book that we read from the
Flatlands.
no Tale of Two Cities.
Ah.
In that whole scene where the guy's like, oh, she doesn't want me. I'm so glad I got rid of her.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
it's just imagining that. How dare
The
you?
lawyer.
The lawyer, yeah.
Last book. There's a lawyer.
Tale of Two Cities.
He seems to have a high opinion of himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides, and anyone who can't see it, I just did the air
Air
quotes,
quotations.
that he no longer wants this young, beautiful woman that he doesn't want.
Well, what? So he goes and he goes to a dear friend of his, and he goes, I've decided that I'm gonna make this woman my wife. And the friend of his goes, really? Are you sure about that? Because you better make sure before you show up on her door. You're not the only one that's courting her, and there might be someone better than you. And just on the mere chance that he might not be selected, he's like, well, you know what? She's a stupid bitch. I don't want her anyway.
I mean, has anybody else here done that?
No.
You haven't done that?
No.
Sorry,
I'm saying-
Dennis, you just outed yourself.
I knew I was, but I'm just saying, it's at some point, if you feel like you're not going to get great consideration, like if you're like, I'm a catch, I'm a good guy, and if I think that if I'm going to have to try too hard, it's like you're not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a conclusion you come to at some point. It's like I'm worth a certain amount of effort on the part of someone else. Obviously, I would give effort, but if I think like I'm going to have to try too hard to get something, and maybe like you recognize the imperfection of other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't think of yourself as perfect, but it's like
Something must have made you want this person.
no, that's what I'm saying. But at some point, it's like risk versus reward.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I try too hard and I get what I want, I'm gonna have to continue that level of energy for the entire relationship, however long you're gonna be. Like if you're doing that just for sex, it's one thing. But if you're doing it for actual relationship, and it's like, well, am I gonna have to always be this enthusiastic about you? Sometimes you get tired. I'm being honest.
No, it's fair. It's fair.
So, Dennis, much like the lawyer in the book, are you looking for a nice widow with some children and lots of money?
That's right.
That's who he ended up getting.
She's financially stable. She's already had love in her life, so she's not expecting much.
What you mean she's not expecting much?
She's had love. So now whatever else she gets is a plus.
That's not how
It's
that
like,
works.
he's dead, I'm breathing. It works.
That's not how that works.
Is it not how that works?
No.
Well, maybe that's why I'm still alone.
That's probably why, because that's not how that works.
It was the best of times. It was the worst.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
No, fuck. I'm out of here. Do we want to fan cast this story?
Before we do that, can I just request that anybody who knows anyone who's just been widowed and is looking for a nice young man to talk with,
and who's not expecting much in return.
Who's not expecting much in return, maybe just a little company. I'd be glad to offer my services.
Got it.
You can take that to mean whatever you like.
And where can they reach you?
At Twitter.
What's your handle?
at DMelloBK.
Got it.
Yes.
Perfect. So now you know. If you don't know,
That's
now
right.
you know. Bueno side eyeing like this motherfucker.
So hear me out.
That handle every week. Nothing has changed so far.
How about Katrina's played by Christina Ricci? Heather Swordsman's played by Christopher Walken.
Wait, you're going too fast. I'm not the one that
It's
knows.
the actual same casting as the movie.
Yeah, I was just
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
just because I didn't say Johnny Depp.
I don't remember. I haven't seen it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You don't even remember?
No.
Oh okay.
I didn't even know he was in this movie. Christopher Walken's one of my faves.
That's
I didn't
right.
know that. So can we not cast the
It's
movie?
it's the only movie where there wasn't a lot of lines for him, so he couldn't be all walking about it. Like even though it still came out, like even in his his bravado of the Headless Horseman.
Wait, so who was he?
He was the Headless Horseman. He was the Hessian, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shit.
I don't have a head.
Yes.
But when his head grew back, he still had his swagger and everything. He was still very much walking.
That didn't actually happen.
Yes,
did
it did.
Oh yeah.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh God, that's cringy.
I guess we have to add that to our list of
No.
movies to watch.
Yes.
No. Well, we have
It's
this
kind
running
of
list
it's kind of a quick
movies.
one too.
Yeah, we have a running list of movies that we want to watch and then have a podcast to discuss the movie.
I forgot who played Brahms. I remember the actor, but I don't remember his name.
It was.
Why do I want to say Casper Van Dien?
It's exactly that person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Starship Troopers.
Rico.
Yeah. She won't remember, but
No.
That's literally my extent of
like
Casper Van Dien knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did he do anything else?
Stargate. Did he do Stargate? No, right?
No. I think wasn't he? Didn't he play a Tarzan once?
Jesus.
I'm falling asleep.
I don't know why I remember these things, but I do.
Anyway, so let's just jump straight to Stupid Cast. Alternate fan cast. There's fan casting and then there's alternate fan casting.
Well, I want to see what's his name, the guy who played Smeagol play everything.
Oh.
A whole movie of
Andy,
Smeagol's? There's so
Serkis?
many different
Yeah, Andy
camera
Serkis,
angles. So many camera angles.
Andy Serkis as the Headless Horseman. Definitely want to see that.
I feel like that's not. I mean, yeah, you know, you got the motion capture, but like,
No, but I think he's a good actor. I think if we saw less of him animated and more of him acting,
but how much acting is it? Wait, who is he playing?
he's the Headless Horseman.
There's not much acting. It's riding a horse,
He's acting without a head.
but it's riding a horse.
But I've never seen him ride a horse before.
No,
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, he probably rides a good horse.
What?
I don't know what I wanted to answer.
What?
I don't know what to say to that. You know?
What?
He probably rides a horse well.
Oh, okay.
That's what
Yeah.
I meant to
See,
say.
I think that I can discuss with you. I can agree on. But the other thing, I'm gonna leave that alone totally.
Oh god.
This is a
Alright.
family podcast, by the way.
Woo.
I'm gonna have to rate this episode M.
They don't rate it for us?
No, motherfucker. How would they know? I'm the one that has to put if it's for children
Yeah.
or not.
There's not a. Is there like not a podcast motion picture association of
No.
America or something?
Oh, so you put all the little E's?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, no, I put for adults because we curse.
Yeah, that's right.
Because not all of them
like
has a little
sailors.
E. I'm like, ooh, explicit. What did I say this time?
Like Sailor's name Ishmael.
Oh, you see an E?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of the episodes have.
Oh, I didn't know
An E for everyone.
that. Yeah, exactly.
No.
With a dirty mind.
Talking about riding horse.
You just thought they listened to all the
That's right.
podcasts and then they'd be like, yep, there's the curse. We're gonna put the E on it.
Well, I assume it's like everything else in our wonderful world. There's some kind of software. It's like, it knows certain words, and it's like, ooh.
Well, I
No,
also think
no.
we lose all the kids at book podcasts.
yeah, exactly.
If it makes you feel better, when I was a kid, this is a random fact about me. When I was a kid, I used to think that movies were made in the movie theater.
What?
Like I thought that they were made. Like I thought the studio was in the movie theater. So like when the movie was over and like I enjoyed it, I'd look at the usher like, "Yo, good job!
Oh,
You
shit.
did it. You guys did great!" Like, so
I wonder what brought you to that.
I don't know. It just happened. I went to the movies a lot as a kid too. So.
Oh, okay. No, but it just like So another podcast I listen to. There's this lady who named Christina Pazishki. I can't pronounce her last name.
Start that whole sentence over.
I listened to another podcast, her Mom's House podcast, by Tom Segura and his wife, Christina P.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about these things she used to do as a child or growing up that she recently has to, as an adult, has decided to stop doing or change.
Which is?
Like one of them was drying herself off completely.
Okay.
It was like I always had problems putting on clothes, or like she would say I would always have problems putting on clothes, like putting on jeans and stuff because my body was still wet. And she was like, you know what I can do? I can dry myself off after I get out of the shower. And I'm like, who does things like that? And you wonder how those things kind of start.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
So like the movie thing is like I know as a kid I'm sure I had dumb things I did or dumb things I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, where did those things come from and why weren't they edited out of it? Yeah.
Why
not
weren't they
saying the movie
edited
thing
out?
was dumb, but it was just like it's just like I wonder how things like that get started.
Huh. Do you have anything like that? More so?
Wow. As a kid?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Or even as an adult, it's something that just made no sense that you had like.
Oh no, I made no sense as a child.
Okay.
So my mother would tell me I would speak to roaches.
Okay.
That's first of all. Well, she said I developed that habit because I would get punished a lot.
Oh, okay.
So,
Why would you get punished?
well, you see how I like to paint and draw?
Yeah.
I like to do it everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
at all times. No matter what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
School,
Mm-hmm.
doctor's office.
Yeah.
Being punished,
Yeah.
I'll start drawing on the wall.
Okay.
So, to fix that, they tried the, how do I put this?
Some sort of child abuse.
No.
Oh shit.
No, that's when you level up.
Okay.
Oh god.
This is that whole, the after school special, like go stand in a corner.
The after school special.
That nonsense.
Yeah,
You got to stand?
So they would
That's
send me to a
illegal.
corner and be like, go stand in the corner.
Your mother's very diplomatic.
So I would stand in
Either
the
that or
corner,
you own no belts.
and it seemed
Definitely
like one day,
no
one of my corner routines, I'm standing there and a roach goes by.
Uh-huh.
And I decided to talk to the damn thing.
Okay.
And then she finds me talking to a roach. And I was like, yeah. She's like, the fuck?
But it stayed and talked to you? Like it's like in your mind?
I guess so.
Oh.
This is, what is it? Welcome to Joe's apartment.
No.
Apartment 2. We've been around for 1,000 million years. We'll be here long after you. But I just dated myself. I'm okay with that.
I was about to say this is Joe right here. Talking about roaches.
But yeah,
Okay.
weird kid.
I was the opposite.
It wasn't roaches, it was another
No.
creature?
Right.
No. I would,
It was an imaginary roach?
I would get in trouble. I wouldn't, my punishment when I was really, really young was that I would have to kneel in the bathroom because the tiles were really small. And so it was almost like kneeling on rice.
That's what I meant by child abuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a few memories of that. But I was, like, at one point, my parents actually told me, like, punishing you is frustrating because it doesn't actually seem like it's punishment to you. Because I would just, like, I would just be there for an indefinite amount of time, and it didn't matter to me. I didn't care that much.
Yeah, because you become desensitized to it.
I was I never suffered from it to begin with. I was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Now, see, some parents do that with rice.
Yeah,
Like
that was my bathroom
they'll
tile.
put-
That
they'll
was
put-
tiny little tiles, and I
They'll
had
put
to kneel on them.
like grains of rice on the floor, like
Mhm.
extra rice or whatever, and you have to kneel or on the rice,
Mhm.
or stand barefoot on the rice,
Mhm.
and you can't move. I've heard plenty of stuff like that.
I feel like standing barefoot would be way better than kneeling. But I'm also very bony,
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
maybe because I'm bony, kneeling sounds worse to me.
it's one of
maybe-
those things that like immigrant parents make their kids do, like because it's something their parents made them do.
Mhm.
So if like if they didn't hit you,
Mhm.
they would make you hurt yourself on something. It's a thing
Yeah,
you hear a lot
yeah.
about like growing up. It's like well I had to like hold a book and kneel and like kind of things you would hear like football camp or stuff like that. And it wasn't like it wasn't like a punishment. It was like a training exercise, but
Right.
also a punishment somehow. Like I've had a friend who said while he was training for football, while he was in school, and you would have to like lean up against the wall and form like a flat like a 90-degree angle on your lap, and the coach would sit on your lap.
No.
And obviously they were grown men, and like during football your coaches are not small people, so like you have to keep that. You have to be strong enough to hold the coach.
Fuck out of
Type
here.
of shit.
Quit.
And as far as like
Get out.
You think those coaches just wanted to sit on kids' laps?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like if you were like Caribbean, like and you've done something wrong, which could be anything. They make you go outside with like in those countries that have the red ants, and it's like, oh, just stand outside near this anthill.
What?
Yeah.
That's not even creative.
Yeah, no.
That's
But the
horrible.
anthill, it was specifically for like the type of ants that would attack you.
Yeah.
But
And
that
so-
can actually kill you.
Well, I don't think they would kill the kids.
No, but the red ants can literally.
No, I know, but it was some sort of ant or insect that was like would just
Would
kind
just-
of peck at you or bother you.
That
So
sounds
then
horrible.
you would learn your lesson.
I have I'm familiar with red ants, but only because of a story my father told me about his childhood. And at one point, I don't remember where he was or why, but he wound up, I think he was like under the house, and there was a red anthill, and it just like attacked him, and so he ran inside, covered in red ants, and his mom just poured alcohol on him, like, oh shit, ants, alcohol. So the alcohol poured all over his ant bites, and he told me that story multiple times. So now when you say red ants, I think of his story, and I'm like,
No.
oh god,
Yeah.
no.
I can tell you one thing. Dennis is probably thinking See, that was his problem. He was under the house. I would have never been there.
Definitely. You are absolutely right about that. When I hear about people who have like
Some
crawl
people will
spaces and
keep-
things like that,
Some people, like, if you're living in a country like certain Caribbean islands, the houses are on stilts,
I
and they'll
understand.
keep like their chickens and stuff down
and
there.
what I'm admitting to is that I am a coward and an
Uh-huh.
American.
Uh-huh.
So I have a basement,
Yeah.
and there are no crawl spaces
Uh-huh.
because I live in Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
They're basements, and anywhere there would be insects, I would not be on purpose.
And,
On purpose.
yeah. Got
So when my cousins were like, "Oh, you're scared, you're this, you're that," and I'd be like, I'm like, exactly. All those things you said about me are true.
it.
I'm never the guy who's gonna be like, no, I'm brave, I'm this, I'm that. I was like, no, I'm a coward.
Uh-huh.
I'm fine with that.
Got it.
But I'm also the one who has the least hang-ups about
Red
things
ant
like
bags.
that. Yeah, I don't have any red ant bags. I don't have any like. It's like my mother still like has fun with me because I don't like cockroaches and things like that.
Uh-huh.
And because I had this one, I don't know if I've ever told the story on the podcast before, but I was in the bathtub and playing with my toys and just having a good time, and all I heard was like what I now know was fluttering, like a fluttering sound.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that type of thing. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that? Like whatever the version of a kid's thoughts would that would be. And I look behind me, and I hear it again, but I don't see where it's coming from.
Uh-huh.
So I just go back to playing with my toys.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I hear the sound again, but it's closer.
Ooh.
And this is very, good for a Halloween podcast.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, there is this giant orange, and I mean orange, like orange juice orange,
Uh-huh.
like water bug, just giant.
Oh.
And I don't know if I was just a kid and it wasn't giant, but as
No,
a kid,
they're large.
yeah. So it was huge,
Yeah.
huge, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs,
Uh-huh.
screaming at the top of my lungs for my mother to come get me out of the tub and everything. And I remember this vividly, and I'm probably over remembering it and exaggerating it in my child mind. And she, like came in with a chancleta on her foot and bust the door open, scooped me up out of the tub, and like just ran me into the bedroom or something and calmed me down or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's like she laughs at that all the time, and I was like, I remember that vividly because
Yes.
we still live around the corner from the house we used to live in,
Mm-hmm.
and every time I see the house now, I think about that fluttering.
I had a story with water bugs, but mine was very different.
Yeah.
So my dad is a bugophobe. I don't know what the term is, but
Yeah.
he's afraid of bugs.
Yeah.
So one day he and I are skating around this track by where I used to live, and we start noticing that the track is emptying rather quickly for the hour. Normally there's more people,
Mm-hmm.
but we're like, oh, let's just enjoy the fucking solitude and all
Yeah.
the space to ourselves. And then a water bug flew into one of us.
Oh my god.
And so he's flipping out because he's like, they're fucking bugs. And I'm flipping out because my dad is flipping out. So we have roller blades on.
Mhm.
We run across the grass field to grab our bags and then run out of this, like, we're not skating.
Yeah.
We're literally running with the skates on to get away from this because the water bugs were out and they were just pelting us. And it was like a really scary thing.
Yeah.
But also thinking about it now and imagining it from someone else's point of view who doesn't know what's going on, can't see us getting pelted, and just watching a father and a daughter running out of a track field
In
on
skates.
in skates with our bags and
Uh-huh.
shit. Now it's become kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, most of that's probably gonna get
It's fun.
edited out because it's way far away from the stories.
You're
but-
gonna enjoy that.
Bugs. The
Yeah, no.
podcast.
No, it's not. The tangents don't make it. Are we fan casting at all? I know that you had thrown some names out.
Well, it's basically for a movie we've all seen.
Yeah.
With the
Right, I
exception
mean,
of
but
you.
we've casted other movies before.
That's true.
Monte Cristo's been made 2 or 3 times and we casted it.
Yeah.
So who would you ridiculously want to see? I kind of want to see The Rock,
As.
Ichabod.
Wow. I wonder what that would look like.
That would look ridiculous.
But then again, I never
But
thought I'd
as
see the Rock on more.
his muscly self pretending to be a skinny person.
I got this.
Okay.
Alright?
Go for it.
The Rock is Ichabod,
Okay.
and Kevin Hart is Brumbo.
Yes!
Okay, yeah, that works already.
Yes.
And that reminds me of like someone always talks about.
Uh-huh.
Did you see this thing on Facebook? I said somebody talks about, but I saw it on Facebook where they said that they wanted wanted to see a movie where the villain is Daniel Radcliffe, not a somebody playing not a actual Daniel Radcliffe,
Not the Radcliffe type.
but played by what's his name that was in Lord of the Rings.
Elijah Wood.
Yeah, played
so
by
Elijah
Elijah
Wood
Wood.
playing
And-
Daniel Radcliffe.
And his sidekick is the character's name is Elijah Wood,
Oh.
and it's played by Daniel Radcliffe.
That's cute. I like that.
And I'm just like, bro, like who thinks of these? How drunk or high are you?
Well, I have friends who
I can see that.
always get Tobey Maguire and Elijah Wood mixed up. Like honestly, he's like, he was in Spider-Man, and I was like, that was Tobey Maguire. He was like, no, it's the other one. It's like, no, that's Elijah Wood. He was in Lord of the Rings, amongst other things. But it's like he honestly like always gets them mixed up. It's like they don't look alike
They
at
don't
all.
even look alike.
Exactly. It's like, how did you get? It's like I understand.
Like those two actually make sense to put together because they look alike, but
The Rock and
no. Who would you cast? Dominican with a headband, DJ Morsa, as opposed to Dominican with a face mask. DJ somebody or other. We don't have a name for you yet. We ain't using your old
I
name.
mean, I guess. Yeah, don't use my old name.
How do you say phantom in Spanish?
Phantom.
Phantom.
Phantom O. Hello.
Very Americanized Latino. It's literally like, I don't know. Let's just try to say it in Spanish. Phantom.
No. I said Phantom O.
Phantomo. Phantom.
That just
No,
sounds
no.
like a
Fantisma.
Probably actually.
That sounds right, right?
Yeah.
fantasma.
All of us have devices right in front of us who could tell us how to say phantom.
That's not fun though. Meow. Stop munching on things. Also, your microphone has fallen.
Oh,
Mine did too a little while ago, and I have to fix it.
what is this? The ghost of
Very, very heavy microphones.
They're not though.
I'm trying to help you. Take the help.
Hello.
Anyways, go ahead and cast you.
Well, I haven't casted him in anything in a while, at least I don't think so. So who should Samuel L. Jackson be?
Ooh.
Oh, well.
Well, he can't be headless because we need him to say something crazy.
This is true.
Why? Okay, he can be.
I have a question.
Go.
What if we never hear him talk, right? Because obviously we never do. And then right at the end, when Ichabod is laid out because he fell off, and then he just rides past him on the bridge. He just says one motherfucker. Motherfucker.
We just get that like whispered hunt motherfucker.
So now I'm thinking like, what would
Icky?
Ichabod?
I was trying to think. I was thinking about the name of the film, and it wouldn't be Ichabod Crane. It would be.
No, but it wouldn't be Ichabod.
No, it definitely wouldn't be Ichabod.
Ichabod is alien?
Yeah. No, I was thinking of what Stevie Hollow would have looked like if it was directed by.
I thought you were gonna say Stevie Wonder.
No. He could be Headless Horseman. He's already blind.
Oh.
Oh.
What?
Too soon?
The man is in his 80s and he's still having children. He's fine.
Is he?
Yes. He just had a newborn like last year or the year before.
Oh.
Why? Why is that a bad
So
thing?
sad. Anyway.
Why
come
you
on.
guys get ladies?
He doesn't see age.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
See? And I was just mentioning, I didn't even bring him up, and I was getting the Oz.
I didn't see that coming.
I hate
See,
you.
Look at that. You're horrible. You're horrible.
You're both fucking fired. Fine.
Anyway, I was trying to say, I was wondering what Sleepy Hollow would look like if it was directed by what was it?
Martin Scorsese.
No, not Martin Scorsese.
Leonardo
Spike
DiCaprio.
Lee.
The director of Django Unchained.
Quentin
Quentin
Tarantino.
Tarantino.
There'd be a lot more
Well,
conversation.
definitely Samuel Jackson would be in it.
Yeah.
And he probably would be the Headless Horseman. And
There'd
somehow
be a lot
he'd
more dialogue.
find a way to get him to say motherfucker too.
He did find a way for him to sit down with
He'd probably be
Ichabod
the
and have a
motherfucking
whole-
horseman.
yeah, and have a whole conversation.
Yeah.
and then there's just a big bloody climactic
Exactly.
battle.
It would be cool
For sure,
Yeah.
but still.
though. Yeah.
So who should be Ichabod?
Mel Brooks.
Like Mel Brooks now,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Well,
Mel Brooks is always Mel Brooks. I don't
Yeah.
think he's changed much. He's just gotten older.
yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's older.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought. I'm still thinking about more other versions.
Now I'm thinking like Sleepy Hollow in like a Blazing Saddles type way.
I chew.
let me.
We've never cast him in anything.
Who? Mel Brooks?
Oh no,
No.
Chappelle,
Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
He's not a very good actor.
He doesn't have to be. We
He's
cast
an-
William Shatner for Christ's sakes.
No, William Jackson is great at what he does.
Oh please. At being William Shatner.
There's that.
Exactly.
There's a horseman coming at me.
Exactly.
Where's
Oh,
his
God.
head?
That movie would be so long, and for no reason.
And if we didn't have Shatner's horrible acting, we wouldn't have what's his name, Spock's great acting.
That,
Leonard Nimoy?
that-
Exactly. It one accents the other. It's complementary.
No.
No, you don't think so?
No, I think William. No, they're in separate leagues.
Nimoy.
Anyway. Oh, you know what? That's another actor we could cast in place of Addie. Big
Ron
nose.
Bones?
Yeah.
The big nose actor. What's his name?
Adrian Brody.
Yeah. We could do Zachary Quinto.
Hmm.
He's another one that could probably do a kind of a role like that. He can be long and gangly.
True.
Anyway,
Mhm.
are we done here?
Think so?
I don't know. I mean, the fan casting seems to be kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these have films already, and they have
But I
already
don't
been
care about the
portrayed.
films.
No, I'm just meaning that I think a lot of us are we satisfied with the movies and things we've seen of the subject matter we've seen tonight? I enjoyed the Simpsons version of the Raven.
I never saw it.
No, how have you never seen any of these things?
Well, we can watch all of The Simpsons now that we have Disney Plus.
Wait, is that?
They own it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, because of Fox.
Mhm.
Got it. I didn't know that. No, I love The Simpsons. Actually, I've always been a fan of The Simpsons over every other show. So, like, when everyone jumped ship to Family Guy, I was still a Simpsons fan.
Simpsons are much better than Family Guy.
Depends on who you talk to. But
Well,
I
we
personally,
don't speak to those people.
I personally like The Simpsons, and I've always liked The Simpsons. But if we're done here, then we can say our goodbyes.
Oh, we say goodbyes. Why don't we
And,
just keep talking?
and you
and
can
cut
share
out the rest?
our handles. Is there anything else you guys wanted to add?
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Be safe.
Halloween.
I have one final fan cast.
Go for it.
Jack Black as Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh yeah, that could be good.
I could
like
totally
that.
see that with the hair and everything.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
surprised you don't cast Jack Black more often.
This is true.
Are you a Jack Black fan?
Oh, big time.
Yes.
Oh.
Big time.
I mean, I got my Tenacious D hoodie that I was wearing
Right.
all day today.
We've seen him live in concert twice.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, jealous am I.
Yes.
One of the times we went was actually out in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
The concert was amazing, but
For all of like 10 minutes.
but then he got cut off.
Why?
So it was like 5 different stages,
Uh-huh.
and on the main stage, the big stage, Slayer was playing,
Okay.
and they started playing towards what was it like, into like his 5th, 6th, like towards the end of his set.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you ever heard Slayer, but it's just kind of loud.
They're
Yeah.
loud and rowdy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think a band named Slayer would be very quiet and subtle. They don't sound like an orchestra piece.
So he's playing, and then they start playing, and then you can't hear him anymore. So Jack Black being Jack Black, rather than just like, you know, some people might get angry
Yeah.
or might do some. He's just going Slayer, Slayer.
Well, yes, it's like he's like I think he was almost like in the middle of a song, and the main stage kicks on, and just like this loud eruption of sound and light and everything completely drowned him out.
Wow.
And so he goes, "Is that Slayer? Slayer! Slayer!" And then just like he yelled at him, and then they had to give up because they couldn't compete.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we left and we went to go listen to Slayer, and then we were like, "Why the fuck does anyone listen to this?"
Oh, okay.
If you listen to Slayer, you can let us know why.
Hmm.
Anyway, we outie.
Damn.
Latest.
Hating on Slayer.
Yeah. One of
I've
my favorite.
asked people listening to Slayer why they listen to it, and they're like, honestly, it was on. So
we didn't understand. Like we walked over.
we gave it a fair shot. We were like, this is a band. It's been around for a long time. A lot of people like it. Let's, we're here live. Let's see,
So
why.
we listened to like 3 songs, and they all sounded like this to me.
I never understood that type of rock.
That's all I understood, and I'm
Yeah.
like, is he gonna do something different? No, okay.
Yeah, I never understood that type of rock.
Okay.
I always thought about like going to a lyric website just to see
If
what
he's
that-
saying words.
It would blow my mind if there's like some beautiful poetry there.
There probably
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
but and that's I might actually do that just to see for myself, but maybe because there's no nostalgia there for me. I didn't grow up listening to it. I don't have any I don't have any tie-in. So listening to it, and I've tried for many years to why is Slayer such
I
a
only
thing? I
look
just
up
can't keep
lyrics
up with it.
because I have friends who refuse to learn the lyrics, and it messes me up. So I forget the actual song
Yeah.
and start listening to like what they sing
Yeah.
instead, or what he sings instead, and it always bothers me. Like I had a friend who Genuine So Anxious would sing Snow Angels, and I was like, that's definitely not what he's saying. There are no snow references in this song. And somehow you keep singing Snow Angels, and it's like, I know that's not what the song is, and I'm not even that particular to the song. I'm not even particularly enjoying the song that much, but I know that's not what the song is, and it's bothering me.
Got it.
Well, there was one song that I always loved, but it took me watching the Weird Al Yankovic spoof on it to realize, wait, I don't think I know the words.
Exactly.
Which is Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And it's like,
Oh no! I know when you first realized you didn't know the words. I trolled you and put it on as a karaoke song for you. to sing.
yes.
Yeah. I know the words, and I put it on, and I was just sitting there watching him, waiting to realize that he didn't know the words
Like,
to these songs.
whoa, that's what he's saying?
Yeah.
This motherfucker.
Doesn't make any noise. It doesn't make any sound. Anyway, we out of here.
Wait. Now I have a karaoke story. It's really
I
quick.
have to edit all of
It's
this.
really quick. You're gonna
We're
cut it out
at 2
anyway.
hours.
Or it's all at the end.
2 hours?
Yeah, we've been here for 2 hours.
Really? Didn't even
I
feel
have
it.
to sit and edit this for 2 fucking hours.
Didn't feel like it. Well, a couple more seconds.
It's gonna be longer than 2 hours. She's gonna be.
I was gonna say that I actually
1
fought-
hour, 39 minutes, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds.
I was gonna say that I did Big Willie getting jiggy with it for karaoke one time, and it's a much more difficult song than you think it would.
It is.
You would think it would just be getting jiggy with it. No,
There's
no,
actually
no.
words there.
And there's actually words, and I was like, oh shit, and they're pretty fast. And it's like, oh, I'm up here by myself because I started with a group and we were all doing a dance and trying to get the words right. Next thing I know, I'm up there by myself and I'm like, where did everybody else go?
And they all like, oh, you did that, fucking
Yeah.
asshole.
And I'm just
outta
in a
here.
I'm just a room full of people staring at me like, why is he still going?
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention.
Getting jiggy.
The song is not that great. Nobody cares. Get off the stage, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna
You're
do
lucky
that.
they didn't
And I
throw
walked off, and no one booed. Everyone was just happy to be done with the
Can
song.
we just cue to the next song?
Exactly.
Please?
That was it.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
And thank you to everyone who listened to the episode. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, oldbookspodcast.com. We also have an email, suggestions@oldbookspodcast.com.
Yes.
If you have a favorite Edgar Allan Poe story and we didn't listen to it, you can let us know what it is, and we will, because we have the entire collection of them now.
Yeah.
You guys want to call yourselves out?
Sure.
But before that, why don't you tell people where they can reach you and talk to you? And
Yeah.
And mention your podcast.
Thank you,
Your
Bono, for
movie.
joining
Yeah.
us.
Oh, you said my podcast. No, they were-
Not podcast. YouTube channel.
I used to have a podcast actually. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah.
And just it was awesome from the moment we talked about what we were gonna read, because delving into it, it was awesome.
Yes.
I said awesome way too many times.
That's okay.
It's awesome.
I think I said it before, but Twist in the Story Productions is our YouTube handle, and on IG, if you want to follow me, I guess it's always underscore stay underscore focused.
You're one
Always
of
stay
those-
focused.
You're one of those underscore people.
A little bit. That's just my little amateur photography one. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. This was
Mhm,
awesome.
For sure. I hope that you join us for future episodes.
Yeah.
For
We
sure.
always like having guests on here.
Oh yeah.
you're
It's
guest
just
number
not
two.
mine.
I'm at DMelloBK on Instagram and Twitter.
Wait, what is my thing?
I don't know.
Space Reader.
Oh, that's true. That is the name. Damn, I use it for everything.
Yes.
Everything.
At Space Reaver on Instagram.
Yeah.
And Twitter as well.
Yep.
And Dark Tobias is also used.
Yeah, the snorer.
Well, that's the dogs. They
Yes.
have their own Instagram.
Yes.
It's Darth Tobias, and there you can find the one that was growling at the beginning of this. Her name
Yes.
is Ahsoka. Yes, like the Ahsoka Tano. And also Toby, who's usually snoring at the back of our episodes. But yeah, let us know what you think. If you want to support this podcast, you can stop this episode and send it off to someone who likes Edgar Allan Poe and or The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Please reach out, let us know what you think, and
Even if you're
communicate
hate
with us.
watching the podcast, please let us know.
Maybe.
Views
but
are
with
views.
that, yeah, there's also YouTube. We recorded all of this. We're in costume, so if you want to see us
Yeah,
in
it's
costume,
true.
I dressed as Death from Sandman. You can see
I
the
am
squiggle.
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown.
I am a ninja of the Leaf Village. None in particular.
Oh, okay. And then our guest,
I am the Black Phantom of the Opera.
the Black Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm black. Well, I mean, yeah.
No
but,
fun with that. Nobody
my
even
bad.
went there, guy. You just.
Can we just
It's
cut this
okay.
part out?
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah.
yes.
It never happened.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
fine. Nobody's thinking black.
I mean, the YouTube goes up under
Yeah.
it, so the YouTube video will be 2 hours long. It's
That's
gonna
right. Oh,
be
it's going
completely
raw.
unedited.
Yeah.
Oh, oof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the podcast episode will be about an hour. That will be the full 2 hours.
Yes.
Anyway, we outie. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Next up
Laters.
will likely be Sweeney Todd,
That's right.
maybe. So we'll catch you soon.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
1 hour, 43 minutes, 30 seconds.
You know what I wanted to say, but I didn't because we were cutting it out. We were ending it. But I was gonna say, oh yeah, because you're not editing two things,
What is that?
and
Is
I
that-
don't blame you.
Is that supposed to be sarcastic?
No. I'm saying because like, you know, you have to